All right, how's it going? Welcome to episode 3 of Hype for Hoops. Since we're based in Toronto, Stefan already kind of knows this topic because I kind of leaked it to him. But we're going to talk about Air Canada, Vince Carter, okay? And we're
Yeah.
going to talk about this. Did Vince Carter hit his ceiling? If not, what do you think his ceiling was?
Okay. I think he didn't hit his ceiling.
Okay.
Um, I think he had like so much more left. You can see like in the later years when he played for New Jersey, like
Mm-hmm.
that Vince Carter was freaking dominant, man. Like then again, he had like J. Kidd, Richard Jefferson, but I think he still had a lot more to give, to be honest, man.
So the issue is, what does the question mean exactly by hitting his ceiling? Because,
Do you think he fulfilled his potential, I guess?
I mean, if we talk about just physically, like this guy physically probably was the most gifted athletic jumper
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that any of us have ever seen. If that's the only thing you need to determine the ceiling, absolutely he did not hit the potential, right? He should have
Mm-hmm.
been twice as good as Michael Jordan based on his vertical leap or something, right?
Okay,
But
yeah.
I think the problem is that it's not even a problem. It's just his personality mentally. He didn't have the Kobe Bryant personality, right? If you took the Kobe Bryant personality with Vince Carter's athleticism, then that's a different guy, right? That's not Vince Carter,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
So if you go back to the original question, did he fulfill his potential? I mean, he had a really good career. He's a Hall of Famer,
Oh, yes.
maybe the best player in franchise history. I mean, I think he's probably his personality only allowed him to get that far. That's my take on it. But you'd have to open up his skull and look inside and see. But that's my
Mhm.
guess.
I don't think he really fulfilled his potential. He had for his athletic ability, his defense sucked. Like
Mm.
he really took possessions off on defense, or he would not get those assignments where he had to really work hard because he was not a very good defender. He yeah. So in terms of his defense, he did not live up to his expectation as a superstar to play defense, and that's why I would say he did not live up to his potential.
Obviously agree that he didn't meet his potential, but I would actually go a different route with this.
Okay.
And I would say that, so for argument's sake, I'm just going to assume that missing 5% of the games in a year means you've made a full season. You've played a full season. Like, you get a flu one night, you have to have a family emergency one night, whatever. If you're playing 78 games, you've basically played the full season. So in his entire career, which is, I believe, 21 years, 22 years, something in there, he's played 6 full seasons. So everything else he's had, 43 game season, 60 game season. So he's been injured a lot. So it's kind of hard to reach your full potential when you're spending so much time either on the injured list or recuperating from those injuries instead of working to get better as a player. You don't know how much better his shooting percentages would have been or anything like that if instead of getting hurt, he would have, worked on a better jumper, worked on whatever, defense, right? So it's kind of hard for somebody to reach their potential when they're basically not playing full seasons all the time.
I mean, that's fair. I think for Vince Carter, I think you all raised great points, and yeah, he didn't really, based on coming into the league, his athleticism, as you said, his highest scoring. Stefan, do you have his stats with you right now? It's like
Yeah, I
27
do.
point something, and it was in his third season as a Raptor. That was like his highest scoring ever, something.
27-6, and then he had a 24-25 on the Nets.
Mm.
Well, he had a 27-5 also on in New. Although, okay, so that was like during the small sample size during the season he was traded to the Nets,
Oh, okay,
but
okay.
Mm.
like that brought him up to 24-5 for that whole season.
Hmm.
So that wasn't too bad.
But his height was as a Toronto Raptor, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
that
for
was only
sure.
within his third season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just kind of saying he could have gone a lot further. And I think it's a mixture of, like Dave pointed out, just great, just his attitude towards the game. Not to say he didn't love playing, because obviously he's been playing he's been able to play in 4 different decades, right? But ultimately, that drive to become the best, I think it was clear early on in his career when they made like comparisons with him with like Jordan or Kobe or whatever, and I don't think he really liked that. That comparison and that pressure. I don't know what you all have a take on that or not.
Like, make no mistake, I think he put Toronto on the map. Like,
Oh
he was
yes,
one of the driving factors. But like you guys said, you guys all touched on great points. Like even the Kobe mentality. Like you put Kobe's mentality in him, and he's a different player, different breed with his athleticism. You know.
But the Kobe mentality only exists in a few guys.
yes,
Especially it exists probably in some journeyman guys who work like crazy just to hang in the league. But if you look at the top players, like the guys we normally think about when we're talking about basketball as fans, there's only a few guys have that. Like killer mindset, God everything. I don't know, guys even name like a couple more. It's very, very rare kind of thing.
100%.
But like, think about it in all sports, right? How many are there in all sports? It's not even that many. Like even football, for example, you're not going to find that many people that are as driven, as crazy as Kobe was, right?
Right. So I mean, what we're really asking is his physical potential. Did he get there? And was his mental game, or his personality holding him back from getting to that point, I think.
yeah. I think his and yeah. If you ask that question, I think yes, he did not reach his full potential in that sense. I think whenever, in my opinion, defense is a mentality. If you're athletic like him, you can play defense. You could probably shut somebody down, right? I don't think good defense can be taught.
Well, it's mentality and it's effort, right? Like
Yeah,
even if you don't
exactly.
know how to play good defense, but you're putting a lot of effort, you're going to get a bunch of stops.
100%. You gotta want it, man. You gotta want to shut that guy down and lock the other counterpart up. You know, the guy you're going head to head with, or whoever it is. You know.
Dave, how did you follow him at all in his collegiate career? I know obviously he took UNC uh, to the championship.
Well, he got to the Final Four
Mm.
twice. He did not get to the championship, and he actually was the second best player on that team. He was on the team with Anton Jameson. I don't know.
Okay.
They had a dominant team, but Carter was the second fiddle. Jameson was like National Player of the Year,
Oh,
at
okay.
least one time, All America 2 times. Carter was in college, kind of the same guy he was in the pros, a guy who could throw down these crazy dunks,
Hmm.
was good for the highlight reel stuff, but his numbers, you can check them online, his numbers weren't as good as Jameson's by a bit. But you could kind of tell that if they became when they became pros, Carter would be better. Like his ceiling was definitely higher with the athleticism.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, so it's definitely a big what if with Vince Carter. We'll never know. All right, so we're gonna talk about the end of the Nuggets Wizards game where the Nuggets were down by two. They get a long rebound. Murray's pushing it up the floor. 4-on-1. Passes the ball, but all three guys are lined up on the three. One guy shoots, and it's not even close to a three. Not even close to going in. What is wrong with the NBA when this is happening? Dave, I think you should be the first one to say.
Well, I mean, this is just modern basketball, man. They've changed how people play, right? In the old days, you tell you guys to, keep in your lane coming down on the fast break, and then as you get close, cut for the basket, right? But I think what's happening in this play is that when the guys do this drill now in practice, they all keep in their lanes and then fan out to the three-point line, right? So that's just instinctive, probably. Like they're probably running on autopilot at that point, getting into their spots and not even thinking about, we could actually make a cut to the basket. I mean, the play looks ridiculous on YouTube.
It is.
As a fan, it looks absurd, but I kind of see how that could happen if the team is drilled to be hunting for threes all the time.
Well, the other problem is like they're going for the win. They're not going for the tie, right? So like if they were driving in, they'd be hoping for a tie, hoping to win it in overtime. Screw it. Let's end the game 5 minutes early. We win or we lose. Who cares? It's regular season. It doesn't matter. That's the other thing, right? Like in the playoffs, it might be a different calculation you put in.
Yeah, at the 3 second mark, you can just see all four of them just lined up, and the lane is just clear for a good second or two, and no one's even attempting to get in. I think all four of them just made up their mind. I'm going to be the one that's going to be open and shoot this one if I get open. and they just all made up their minds. Doesn't matter what happens. If I get that ball, I'm going to shoot that three, and not even go for the tie, which is crazy in basketball. But I don't know. I think like Dave said. I think they just kind of went into their positions of where they're comfortable shooting the ball, and they really just it's one of those routine things that they just went into.
Yeah, that was crazy. And you got Michael Porter Jr. right in the corner, 6'10", 6'11". Man, I'm going back door. I'm taking that pass and freaking jamming that, man. But I think Stefan said it there, man. Like, these guys just they did not want to play that extra 5 minutes in basketball. Either end it there or just go home early with the loss. Take the L,
There's probably some statistic that shows that move wasn't as bad as it looks. Like,
yeah.
he probably had like a 40% chance of winning the game with that shot. If he doesn't make it and they play overtime, maybe it's 50-50. Maybe there's only a 5% difference, right? Who knows?
That's true. That's a good way to look at it, actually. Especially like a 40% shooter. Yeah, fuck, take that shot.
I don't think they're 40% shooters, in my opinion. On the line, too, like, pressure is on. I don't think those guys are 40% shooters. Yeah. And you're trading a 90%, 95% layup, probably even higher than that for a shot.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You got to get with the modern basketball, man. The modern basketball is different from what you and I ate growing up.
But that's the other thing, right?
You can't just say this is modern basketball, though. There's still enough time for a shot and a rebound and a putback, right? So those four just going around the outside and not even attempting to go inside. Mm-hmm. They're pretty much saying it's either 3 or die. That's it. Like, if we miss this, we're not even going to attempt another shot. It's just, that's it. The game's done. They made up their mind. Like, that's crazy. That's ridiculous. Come on, man. That's just that, like, the coach is ripping into them. Like, one of them had to be in there getting a rebound for the miss. Like, that's your backup plan. You don't have a backup plan. There has to be someone rebounding. There's another shot going up. It could be another shot going up. There's another possession in there.
Well, there's maybe a second left. There is time. I agree.
But it's regular season. Who cares, right? You win, you lose. There's 82 games. You're gonna get in the playoffs anyway.
How are we gonna promote hype for hoops with this kind of attitude?
No, I disagree in the sense that Denver they're not playing that well right now, and they should want that W. And they should have played it safe and been like, we can beat the Wizards in overtime because it's the Wizards. And I mean, they're playing well actually right now. The Wizards are, I think, on a 5-game winning streak at least right now.
Yeah, I think they won 6 of the last 7 or something.
Yeah, they're playing very well, but at the end of the day, I'd say let's take them to overtime and we'll win there rather than this stupid. It's just ridiculous. It's just so outside of fundamentals.
Man. Like you guys are saying, it's like they're just programmed in their heads.
Well, that's the other thing, right? Like, it's gotten less about coaching, and well, I mean, there's always a lot of coaching, but it's a lot of analytics built into the game, and the 3-point shot is the most valued thing in the game currently, based on points per possession. So if that's all you practice, if that's all you do, and the defense isn't there, well, I'm trained to take this shot. I'm not trained to go in. What do you do?
Play basketball, and that's not basketball, right, Dave?
Hey, I'm more modern than I look, man. I can handle it.
All right. I don't know if you got. All right. The next thing I want to talk about, probably going to be our final topic, is I don't like harping on this subject because it is kind of talked about a lot, but I'm just wondering, within everyone's mind, is there anything that LeBron James can do to overtake Michael Jordan as the greatest of all time?
Yeah, and he's doing it right now. Just keep playing, and don't play for crap teams. So he's on his way to become the greatest of all time if he's not already. There's no doubt about it. Like, just Michael Jordan coming into the NBA at his age, and then having lost some years because of his retirement, and LeBron James is going to play until he retires for good, and that's it. Like, he's gonna surpass some of the stats that that Jordan has put up, and maybe even go for the championships that Jordan had too. I think he can do it.
I definitely agree. I think he's just got to, yeah, like Jason was saying, just keep playing. Maybe keep winning more championships. That doesn't hurt as well. But like you guys were talking about earlier, I think he's another player that I think if he had that Jordan Mamba mentality, oh man, oh man, like right now he's got like that Magic Johnson, which good, great player. Don't get me wrong, but like that smiling, just having fun with it. But man, if he had that killer instinct like Jordan and Kobe, oh man, this guy would be unstoppable, even more so than he is now. Right now, I do think Jordan is still better, but he is definitely on his way to becoming the greatest of all time.
And even LeBron, when he gets older and at his, I don't know, his dying days in the NBA, he's still going to be a great player because what he brings to the game, a little bit more than Michael Jordan, not just scoring, just the sheer defense and being able to make other players around him that much better. And his court vision, I think, would be better than Michael Jordan's was.
The problem is when you get to the end, if his career ends up being like twice as long as Jordan's or like a third longer, how do you compare? Like that's the hard part because it's like if I mean we all saw the Last Dance. Jordan's career ends prematurely, basically at his peak because of contract dispute, right? Not to mention that he took those years off with with his father's death. If we add those years back, or we take some years away from LeBron at the end, because we're saying if he plays another 5 years, collects 3 more chips and gets a couple more, big awards and stuff, sure. But it's very difficult to compare with the length of their careers being so different, I find. And I know that length of career is a thing. Like when we're going to compare who had the best career of all time, obviously if you were amazing over 35 years, that means something. But that is the one thing that makes it difficult to pick between the two, I think.
Oh yeah, you take man. Jordan's playing in like 94, 95. Akeem doesn't have his 2 rings, man.
At least one, maybe one.
Maybe one, yeah, maybe one, maybe one.
See, I don't know, and it's hard for me to take this from being like completely logical, and to take like the emotional aspect out of it. But I was saying this to Spencer a while back. I don't think LeBron right now, for me, is higher than Kobe.
No.
And I don't know if that's because of like how Kobe's life ended or if it's like I would have felt this way anyway. But like right now, while he's still playing, I don't feel it, right? Like I know he's an amazing player. I know he's great. I just don't have that feeling about him. I don't have that feeling that any given night the Raptors show up, he'll score 81 points and shit on them. Like I just don't have that feeling about him, right? That mentality of brutalizing his opponents. He's happy, he's friendly, he's whatever. I don't know. But like when his career is over, will he be number 1 or 2? 100%, I think. Especially if he gets 1 or 2 more championships.
Well, Jordan and Kobe, they're very alike in that sense that they score a lot of points. Whereas LeBron James, he has just that all around game that you look for in a franchise player, like all around. You can't look at a single thing in LeBron James this game that you can say, you know what, he's just mediocre here or he's just good here. No, he's great at everything that he does. Um, and and yeah, Jordan was more of a scorer than a lot of the other things that LeBron does on the court, I would say.
Jordan was a better defender than LeBron, though.
Yes, Dave.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a really good point.
Absolutely say that. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I just heard this thing about Jordan today. It is the year he won Defensive Player of the Year. He also won the scoring title. Isn't that's insane. And the closest person to ever do that was Hakeem, who was averaged 8 points less than him. So Jordan averaged 35 points the year he won his Defensive Player of the Year. So like that's insane. I think LeBron James is going to be number 2 at least when his career is done, and maybe his career as a whole might be more impressive than Michael Jordan's, especially if he gets a few more rings with the Lakers. But this is what kills me about LeBron. You lost to the Dallas Mavericks on a super team. I don't hold the Cavs loss to him because he basically brought a garbage dump to the finals with them, and he was not going to. Yeah, exactly. He was not going to win. He was not going to win with those guys. But Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and he did not beat the Dallas Mavericks. And I don't, not to take anything away from the Mavericks, but I don't think they were the greatest team.
Well,
That was young though. That was young LeBron, right? Before that's kind of like Jordan losing to the Pistons when he wasn't really ready yet. I think.
I mean, that was.
But when
when
Jordan did lose to the Pistons, I mean, yeah, that Pistons team was insane. Like, who could beat them? They're amazing.
Did
Like,
he have
they
Pippen
were
at that point or no?
They had Pippen,
even
but he was
even
he
with
younger.
Pippen.
Oh, it was even younger Pippen. Okay.
I mean, that's the thing. This kind of argument, there's no answer.
No, for sure.
But
That's why it's so great to argue about it.
so you guys are all thinking that LeBron is going to surpass Jordan by the end of this.
Not necessarily. Like I said, that big strike against him for me will always be
My problem with him is this moving around of teams,
okay.
right?
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Like, I respect that he got Cleveland the championship.
Yes, that one was the most
That
impressive.
one was huge. But then the Miami wins is the same. I'm like, those were super teams that, he constructed with two other all-stars, right? Which is okay. So that's a little knock against them. Then he wins this one in the bubble. I don't even know what to make of this championship, right? Like, it seems legit, but there's no fans in the stands. So, like, he won the championship on Zoom, and that's kind of cool. But, like, I don't know. It becomes very hard to compare. He needs a couple more chips to have this conversation, I think.
So in your mind, yeah, that was kind of like specifically how many more chips would you say he needs to be in your mind? He's like, yes, he's better than Jordan.
He needs 7. He has to get 7.
All right, okay. So he's at 4
I
right
agree.
now, right?
He got to. Yeah, he's at. I think he's got to.
Three-peat? Does he need to three-peat this or no?
Get it over 25 years. If he plays like 25, 30 years, he's got to get 8.
Yeah, I think you make the great point there, like in terms of the longevity, like the amount of seasons he's played, and also the team hopping, man. Like these guys, like Jordan, like one team, one team, 1-6,
Yeah.
and like I think there's always going to be like that asterisk beside his name. And to be honest, I usually when you say Jordan, I automatically think Kobe right after. When you say LeBron, I usually think Magic first, and then maybe even Oscar Robertson. I never really got to see a big old play, but I mean, just in terms of stats and just styles of play. But I think he has a good chance to surpass Jordan, but there's always going to be an asterisk there for me, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, will he even have a better Space Jam than Jordan? I don't even think so. Like, I don't think he'll take that one off him either. So
No. Yeah.
Maybe the Looney Tunes will just lose to the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know. You never know. They're gonna fucking like throw a twist in there. They're like,
yeah, he has to play the Mavericks exactly.
I can see Dirk making an appearance, man. It's game over. Man. It's game over.
To be fair to LeBron, I don't think we should actually compare him to Jordan in the sense that he's his own career. Everyone is their own person. He's making his own legacy. When all is said and done, he's going to be LeBron James, and he's Michael Jordan.
But make no mistake, he's trying to beat every record that Jordan has put up. He's trying to be that bigger name than Jordan was, and like you can see it with everything that he's trying to do with the teams moving from team to team. Come on, man! I think he's really trying to go over Jordan.
I don't think you can. In the sense, okay, another interesting thing, I essentially just watched this video on Michael Jordan where it was like 5 fun facts about him. He's still the number 1 most popular athlete in the United States right now. He hasn't played for 18 years.
Those shoes, man.
Michael Jordan, he is LeBron James, as big as he is.
But that's a different question. Like,
yeah,
in terms of being a cultural icon, he will surpass LeBron by a lot, right? Mm-hmm. But if we just talk about the basketball court thing, the question I'm curious to ask you guys is,
okay,
do you think that he actually will, like we've been joking that he's going to play another 5 years or 8 years or whatever. Do you guys actually think that's possible? Because there are a lot of guys in basketball who They're 35, they're 36, they look strong, and then they just fall off a cliff. You know, they get that one injury and it's finished. Like at 40, you get that one injury and you can't come back. Like, is it realistic for him to go on much longer? Like all his peers are gone.
And that's the thing. He's never had that
One
that
left is
one
Melo.
injury that to like destroy him,
Yeah.
man. And he's getting older now, man. I mean, I know he takes great care of his body, spends millions in the off season and during the season, but I think that one injury is still looming in there, man. Whether it's Achilles or knee problems, usually knee problems, but I think he's gonna play until his son gets drafted. I think he really wants to play against his son. That's gonna be. I can just picture it now. ESPN on TNT Thursday night game, and just Shaq, Earl, Charles, and Kenny. What's his name? Kenny, and
Ernie.
what's his name? Ernie. Talking about it. I can just foresee that right now.
Yeah, I think he's mentioned that in some discussion that he wants that.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how long he'll play, but yeah, I could that would be an interesting way to go for sure. And just maybe quickly, just like the last thing, I just heard this. I don't know if you heard about this in the news, but soccer player Zlatan Ibrahimovic made a comment about LeBron James saying athletes really shouldn't have a say in politics, kind of thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Why not? Why like what? Like why?
They shouldn't
Why
share their opinion on it.
That's yeah.
I mean,
I think that how the NBA, if you look at the culture of the NBA and the players that play there are very marginalized players,
Mhm.
people or players that come from marginalized backgrounds. So it's natural for basketball players especially to speak up about injustices and politics because it affects them so much more than just the average soccer player. So when Ibrahimovic says things like that, there's a sort of a white privilege that definitely it smells of some serious white privilege. I would say so. Yeah, for sure. Athletes should voice their opinions, and they're human, and they should use their voice to make social change and political change if they strongly feel for it.
I mean, by his logic, nobody should make any political statements because, Ibrahimovic said so.
Yeah,
But that's fucking stupid.
And I love Zlatan, man. I think he's a funny guy, but that was just that out of line comment. And like Jay Sean was saying, or just just not just having an opinion, but like look at the people that look up to you, like kids, man. You're talking about kids, little kids that are looking up to you. So I do think it's very important they have an opinion on politics, and they stand up for what they believe in. Because they're not doing it for themselves, but they're doing it for the next LeBron James, Michael Jordan watching you.
Oh yeah, so Jay, just in terms of soccer, and you just said the white privilege there. Soccer is super racist, right? When in those countries, in some countries in Europe, where if you're a person of color on the pitch, you'll get racial slurs thrown at you, literally stuff thrown at you. It's just crazy, and obviously, I don't think he's experienced that because he's coming at LeBron, who's speaking out against racism and all this other stuff. So,
Like
sorry, go ahead.
the political views that some of these especially these basketball players have is it's not about I want to be at a lower tax bracket or whatever. That's not the stance that they're taking. They're taking social stance
Yes.
in their political views. So it's very, very different from or it's very different from other political views that you might see. And Zlatan, like, I have no idea why he would even say something like this. What makes you say that why wouldn't we want to listen to what this person says? Because he has something to say about his life, how he grew up, what his politics would be. Like, it says a lot about their upbringing and their community when they bring up things like standing up for social justice issues and their political views. So yeah, I think Zlatan, he's as entertaining as he is, he's a dumbass for saying this.
Agreed.
Well said. All right. So I guess we'll just wrap it up here. everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please check out the next episode whenever, which should be a couple weeks from now. Anyways, take care and see you next episode.
Cheers.